Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today marks the official beginning of our journey with the UTEP Minors in College Football 26. Season 1 will begin in Logan, Utah, where we face the Utah State Aggies on the road. I've previewed our dynasty and our roster extensively back in the intro episode. If you haven't seen that, I recommend you do. But before we get into Week 1, I wanted to quickly go over the starting lineup and the depth chart. Of course, starting at quarterback will be the former 5-star Malachi Nelson. I will give him the chance to revive his career. But if he underperforms, we may look at a quarterback change, as Skylar Locklear, our backup, is the same overall rating at 76. We have a bona fide bell cow running back here in Hassan Wilson, but I also like the skill set of Marquez Taylor. Ashton Emery will also receive carries as a redshirt freshman. We do have a fullback, and his name is Tyler Reyes, a redshirt sophomore. He is a utility fullback with some ball-carrying ability. He can truck some guys, break some tackles. The receiving core is the number one strength of this offense, and that makes sense in this air raid scheme. But our top three guys are pretty good, and Kenny Odom, the speedster, Cam Thomas, the slot guy / gadget player, and Jaden Smith, who is a solid route runner. Josh Shucks will get the start at tight end due to his 84 speed, 87 acceleration, but Judah Ezinwa and Cash Cheeks will also rotate in. Freshman left tackle Luka Matamoros will begin his first year as a full-time starter, and next to him in his final year, the left guard Ivan Escobar. We have a second freshman on the offensive line in center Jake Riggs, and opposite Escobar is another redshirt senior guard from El Paso, Joseph Immediato. And rounding out the O-line, Azizi Henry at right tackle. Our edge rushers will be different depending on our look. Derek Burns will line up at the left edge in run-stopping formations, while Elijah Baldwin will line up there on passing downs. Impact development sophomore Kofi Taylor Barracks will line up opposite Burns, and Echo Taylor will line up opposite Baldwin. And we don't have a whole lot of power up front, but we do have KD Johnson, a really well-rounded playmaker at defensive tackle. Despite being undersized, he's got a great motor, he can rush the passer and stop the run. And Cole Gustafson, another senior, is a little bit rougher around the edges, but he has a similar skill set. Our linebackers will have a heavy impact on the defense, being a 3-3-5, and Jaden Wilson will start on the strong side. Stratton Schufelt is the Mike, and Udoka Ezayani will be our third guy. Our number one cornerback is redshirt senior Jalen Shelton. Opposite him will be Yesman Green, while Neil Campbell will take the slot. And I have made the call to start Solo Barnes at free safety, the coverage specialist, over Lance Russell, who is more of a run-first guy. And that's partially because we already have a run-first defender in Xavier Smith starting at strong safety, the highest rated player on our defense, and a very hard hitter. Joe Bowman will begin his redshirt senior season as kicker. Junior Noah Botsford will be doing the punting. They added a new long snapping position in College Football 26. That's something I've been wanting for a while, but for some reason, all the long snap ratings show up as 0. This really worried me at first, but then I realized every team in the game currently has all 0 for long snap. I later found out that this is actually not true, and every player actually does have a long snap rating. It's just not showing up on the depth chart menu for some reason. So Craig Wydra, a backup center, will do the long snapping for now. Our best athletes are at the wide receiver position, so why not use them in the return game? Kenny Odom will return kickoffs alongside Jaden Smith, and Cam Thomas will return punts. In real life, he is a wide receiver running back hybrid, akin to a Ty Montgomery. However, the game doesn't let me do that with him, so I figured this would be a way to put his ball carrier skills to use. I have redshirted everyone that I want to before the season has started, and I don't have any true freshmen playing because, quite frankly, they're all kind of bad. We do have a handful of true sophomores, though, and here they are. Most notably, Stratton Schufelt, Echo Taylor, and bench defensive tackle Ashton Coker. Now let's very quickly go over the Aggies roster. And honestly, it's a pretty similar roster to ours. Not very deep, but they do have some decent top-end talent, starting with Ike Larson, their top-rated player, a senior safety, gold ball hawk ability, and he is really good in coverage. The quarterback is redshirt senior Bryson Barnes, in his second year in Logan after transferring from the University of Utah. He is a jack-of-all-trades, master-of-none type of guy. This team does have a decent running back committee, starting with Javen Jacobs. He will get the majority of the carries on the ground, while Miles Davis is pretty good on the trumpet. In the receiving game. This is a pretty rough receiving core, much worse than ours, but they do have a really solid tight end in Brock Lane, who can run routes pretty well. Their two main weapons on the defensive front are defensive tackles Gabriel Iniguez Jr. and Naki Fahina, but the secondary is their strength, led by Ike Larson and cornerback Noah Avenger. Okay, I tried to keep that intro segment as quick as I could. Still way too long, but it's finally time for some football here in Logan, Utah. The Utah State Aggies take the field. And for the Miners, this functions as a preview of the new conference that they will be joining next offseason, the Mountain West. At long last, College Football 26 is here, and the UTEP Miners Dynasty is underway. Joe Bowman boots it into the back of the end zone, and Miles Davis takes a knee, sending out the Aggies offense. Bryson Barnes will line up in the shotgun for the first snap. Javen Jacobs next to him in the backfield, and he will get the first carry and will take it all the way past the first down markers. A 14-yard carry. Aggies' offensive line dominated that snap. First down, they go to the air, and it's a catch for the other running back, Miles Davis, in the flat. Gain of 8. Now they motion the tight end into an H-back position, and getting to the edge is Jacobs. Another double-digit yard pickup. Jacobs gets it again, and this time Cole Gustafson stops him at the line of scrimmage. Now we go to the 3-3-5 look, and Jacobs bounces it outside again. Foot race to the end zone. Jacobs is in. Touchdown Aggies. In a hurry. That was not a good showing from our run defense. We did not contain the edge. Their blockers were able to climb into the second level, and they marched it all the way down the field, only needing to throw one time. A 5-play touchdown drive for Utah State, but now we will get a chance to answer. Kenny Odom will field the kickoff on the goal line and take it out, and he's tackled at the 18-yard line. Out comes the offense, and out comes sophomore quarterback Malachi Nelson, the former USC Trojan and Boise State Bronco, looking for a place where he can finally get some momentum in his career. He begins this drive with a handoff to the running back Hassan Wilson, a gain of 1. Left hash, second down and 9. Nelson is pressured and sacked right away. Carl Neesmith went into the backfield unblocked. Azizi Henry with a rough rep there. Third down and 19. Nelson back to pass. He finds Jaden Smith over the middle, and he gives a little bit more room to the punter, Noah Botsford. He will boot this away. It's right down the middle of the field, and not much of a return. The Gunners got a good jump. Back to Bryson Barnes and the Utah State Aggies, and this time he dumps it off to the running back Jacobs for a gain of 5. Now a third and medium situation. Barnes will take off for the first down and more. He slides at the 45. Now it's an option play. Jacobs gets the pitch, and he's stuffed at the line. Neil Campbell coming downhill for that stop. Third down, clean pocket. Barnes delivers over the middle. It's a gain of 8. It's not enough. And the field goal team comes on. A long one is good from 54 yards. And the Aggies are on top 10-0. Hassan Wilson gets this carry and takes it for a large gain. There were 3 Aggie linemen in the backfield, but they all went for Malachi Nelson. What a fake. Flag on the field. It's a completion to the tight end Judah Ezinwa that will go back due to a holding call on Luca Matamoros, the left tackle. 2nd and 21, and we're moving back even further because of a false start. A long way to go for the first. Nelson with time. Now he'll take off to the right side and throw it away. Not a great start for the offense. Barnes will throw into a blitz and complete it. Brady Boyd moves the sticks. Under 2 to go in the first quarter. Jacobs to the edge again. We are having a hard time containing the outside run. Another catch by Boyd. He reaches for the sticks and gets it. That's 7 first downs for the Aggies already. We do stop this run in the backfield. That is Jaden Wilson bringing us to the end of the first quarter. Utah State outgaining us 133-23. It's getting darker outside. 3rd and 13. Bryson Barnes with all day in the pocket. He throws to the sideline. It's caught. Brady Boyd again. His 4th catch, and our defensive line is not rushing the passer well until now. Cole Gustafson gets into the backfield for the first sack of the UTEP Dynasty. We still got to figure out how to get pressure from the edge, but Gustafson and K.D. Johnson should provide some good pass rush up the middle. And Johnson pushes them to the back of field goal range, but they're still going to try it. Carter Brown from 54 again, but this is going to be wide right. The score stays at 10-0 thanks to the 2 sacks. Malachi Nelson will get a second chance, and he leads this to the outside for Cam Thomas, who takes it up the sideline to the 36 of Utah State. Now a run up the middle. Hassan Wilson will gain 4. RPO on 2nd and 6. Nelson pulls. He's hit hard. He loses the ball. Utah State has it. And another offensive chance squandered. Everything going the Aggies' way so far on the defensive end. That ball is definitely out before Nelson hits the ground. He was covering the ball with 2 hands, but still managed to fumble it. And it gives the ball back to Utah State. It's a catch by the tight end. Brock Lane wrestled down, but Neil Campbell is on the ground after that play. They take a shot deep. And the backup, Dante Thompson, in there for Campbell, will deflect that pass away. 3rd down and medium. Davis catches the checks down and takes it across the markers. 2nd down and 9. Davis with another catch. He has been busy in the passing game. 3rd and 2. We send pressure and we get there. Stratton Schufelt ends the Aggie drive. We continue to have success getting pressure up the middle as opposed to from the edge, but a sack is a sack. 1st down for Nelson. He will pass over the middle to the tight end, Josh Shucks. And that's a 1st down. Now to the edge, it's Kenny Odom on the jet touch pass. We'll be using that play a lot for the speedster Odom. Cutting inside and picking up the 1st down as Hassan Wilson created that all by himself. And a bubble screen now, Jaden Smith getting involved. Nearly a 1st, 2nd and inches. Wilson looked like he might have picked it up, but he does not. It's now 4th and inches. What do we do here? Goal line formation, and we sneak it forward for the 1st down. Now in the 2-minute drill. Nelson has Thomas open over the middle. He gets it into Aggie territory. Nelson has a lot of time now. He tries to take off. He gets past the linebacker and into the red zone. Nelson has some good mobility. He completes it now to Thomas, who reaches forward for a gain of 5. 1:08 to go. Nelson continuing to work the middle of the field. Smith is tackled short. 3rd down and 2. RPO. The give to Wilson is stopped. A timeout for Utah State. We have an option to kick a field goal or go for it. And the offense is on the field. Pistol snap. Handoff to Wilson. Going for the pylon. Doesn't get it, but he does pick up the first. And our starting left tackle is hurt. Luka Matamoros will exit. But a jet pass to the outside. Cam Thomas has the touchdown. Our first points of the UTEP Dynasty. Thanks to 2 4th down conversions on the drive, we're able to score with 51 seconds remaining in the half. Very nice drive from UTEP, finally getting some offensive momentum. 15 plays, dinking and dunking it all the way down. Aggies trying to make something happen before halftime, and they will not. Pass is out of bounds. We have the ball now, and as time runs out, we stay aggressive. Nelson looking for something downfield. He heaves. He completes. Jaden Smith doesn't score, but he does get a decent chunk of yards to take into the locker room. 10-7, Aggies lead at the half. That first defensive drive was really ugly, but so far we have cleaned it up since then. A quick recruiting update. I like to do these during half times. Not much happening, though, in week 1. Here's another prospect I'm introducing, though. Javier Vincent, a raw strength right guard, is a new target of mine. And we have already figured out the hard sell for Eduardo Polanco. This is the recruit I am most excited about in the class. There were only a few 3-stars that had us number 1 on their boards, and Polanco was one of them. And he just so happened to have the one hard sell that's actually worth using for us. And that is Star Search, because we have a lot of playing time opportunity, and we are close to home for Polanco, who comes from Arizona. 2-star cornerback Toby Takeoff is another target, and he is going to be the first visit that I will schedule in this dynasty for next week's game against FCS Southeast. Now, I recognize that it's not very advantageous to schedule visits for FCS games, but I see that we're already getting some competition for Takeoff, and this would be the best way to separate ourselves from the pack as early as possible. We need to replace 4 cornerbacks, so I have 2 2-star cornerbacks on my board. The other one is Chad Trapp, and I'm also scheduling a visit for the following home game, week 4 against UL Monroe. Back to the second half in Logan, where the Miners have it first. Malachi Nelson will slide wisely this time after a big pickup on the read option. Now he lofts this one to the sideline for Jaden Smith. Moves the chains, already the 5th catch for Smith. 2nd down and 8 in Aggie territory. This is to the flat, but Ashton Emery couldn't get his feet in bounds. Nelson led him too far. Nelson will try to look for his tight end, Shucks, but he cannot hold on because of the hit. 4th down and 8. Botsford will kick it away, and this is a very good kick. Downed at the 6-yard line by Neil Campbell. 1st down, it is Jacobs through the middle for a gain of 6. Already up to 83 yards. Jacobs again into the second level and a 1st down pickup. He looks to be on pace for well over 100. Barnes to the flat. He hits Jacobs, who nearly picks up another 1st, and it's 2nd and inches. We blitz, and Barnes throws into it for a 1st. Demick Starling with his 2nd catch. More pressure from UTEP, and another completion to Jacobs. Barnes clearly loves his running backs. Third and short. Barnes gets it out quickly. It's caught. And the Aggies are marching down. In UTEP territory, this is a completion past the markers by Miles Davis. Second down, another pass to the flat. Corey Thompson Jr. makes it 3rd and 3. Barnes will look short on 3rd down. It's incomplete. Stratton Schufelt with a big hit in the middle of the field to force a field goal try, and this is tucked in inside the left upright. Utah State ran a lot of time off the clock, but they leave with 3 points. Wilson on the screen pass is bottled up by Matt Lowell. Second and long, Nelson into a blitz, and a bad pass from him led Odom back into his defender. 3rd and 14, Nelson to the sideline, overthrew his man, Jaden Smith. And we will have to give this right back to the Aggies. Barnes on the option, Jacobs with the pitch, and he is stopped just shy of the 1st down. The Aggies have controlled the ball this quarter. Barnes with another quick flick, and it's caught by Lane, again moving the chains. Now they go play action, and Barnes has time, but he runs into the pressure, has to throw it away. 2nd and 10. That is broken up. Jaden Wilson knocks it free for Miles Davis. 3rd and 10. Barnes is brought down by K.D. Johnson. The sacks continuing to come in big moments, ending this drive. Back to Nelson in the offense. Nice lane for Hassan Wilson, taking it for 9. Not able to pick up the first on 2nd, and now Wilson's wrapped up on 3rd down. Not a lot coming easy for us, but we do get this 4th down conversion and more. Wilson threw a wide hole up to the 40 to end the 3rd quarter. Still down by 6. This is overthrown over Jaden Smith's head. Nelson has struggled with accuracy at times. 3rd down. This is dropped in the bucket. What a throw. Jaden Smith streaking down the middle of the field on a post. And Nelson lays this in right before the safeties can get there. In Aggie territory now, this is the backup Marquez Taylor getting some good blocking. Nelson will pass on 2nd down, and this is nearly a diving interception. We get away with 1. 3rd down. We go to the halfback angle route. Taylor picks it up. Route running is one of his strengths, and he uses it to pick up a 1st down. Ashton Emery nearly breaks the plane, but does not. 2nd and goal at the 1-inch line. A stretch to the right side. Taylor is in for the touchdown. Another long drive for the Miners, extended by a 4th and inches conversion. And I like the balance our offense has right now. We're doing it in the air and on the ground. And this extra point gives us the lead with 7:32 remaining. A 14-play drive this time. Under 7, and Barnes completes it short. Sets up a 3rd and 6. Barnes doesn't have a whole lot of time. Stunts and twists are a new addition in College Football 26, and this time we use that to our advantage. Echo Taylor starts at the edge and then bursts up the middle for the sack. And we will get this ball back up by 1. Thomas has some room to run on the punt return. Gets it up to the 45. 1st and 10 for Nelson. Complete over the middle. A dig route caught by Smith. He's been a big part of our offense today. Now here he is again, picking up the 1st down. 9 catches for 107 yards. We're going to run the speed option now, and Wilson couldn't stay in bounds. That was a little wonky since we ran it to the wrong side. And this out route is hauled in by Smith, his 10th catch of the day. Running the clock down, 3 minutes to go now. And Hassan Wilson will pick up about 5. And Utah State's going to start using their timeouts. Wilson will move the chains. And the Aggies use their second. We're going to keep forcing them to call timeouts. They call their third here with 2:50 to go. Now we're going to go to the air. Nelson, a short completion. He's got Wilson. And he walks in for a touchdown, extending the lead. What a showing so far for the Miners in game number 1. Outside of the first quarter, they've been very sharp. No wasted plays. They've protected the ball. And they've come through when they need to. 21-13 the score after the extra point. We've still got to play defense. Good coverage, and Barnes takes off for a gain of 9. Still has negative rushing yards. Now he's going to pitch this out to Javen Jacobs, and nobody's there to stop him on the option. All the way for the touchdown. Jacobs continues to run all over our defense. And there it is again. One of our biggest weaknesses is containing the edge. It's even harder when you got to worry about the quarterback too on an option. Not sure if our defense is ready to do that consistently. And the Aggies tie this game after the 2-point conversion. This is headed for an interesting finish. Tie game with 2 minutes remaining. First down for Nelson. The flat is covered, but hauling it in is Marquez Taylor, who's still out there on second down. He will not make this catch. He dropped it. And we need to convert this third down. We throw the hitch route, caught by the depth receiver, Jalen Brown. We went 5 wide that time. And Kenny Odom is going to take this and turn it upfield. Such a dynamic player after the catch, and he has us in Aggie territory. Still need to get a few more yards for field goal range. We're at the 43, but we're now running the clock down just so Utah State doesn't get a chance. That would have gotten us in field goal range. It's batted down. 3rd and 10 with 16 seconds. Open over the middle. Cam Thomas makes the grab. And that makes our field goal a whole lot easier. Utah State sent their linebackers. Nelson diagnosed it and threw into the open space. Excellent play. We're going to run this. Taylor is tackled, but it centers the ball for Joe Bowman. As we take a timeout with 2 seconds remaining. Bowman from 42 for the win. The wind is at his back. The kick is up and right down the middle. Bowman wins it for the Miners. And we get our first victory of the dynasty. What a way to kick things off. It wasn't a perfect game. We still have some things to shore up, especially our run defense. But there was a lot to be proud of, including the play of quarterback Malachi Nelson. Looked to have great understanding of the offense on day 1. And consistently made the right plays to put us in position to score. And we are going to head home 1-0 because of it. We scored 17 points in that 4th quarter. Things looked pretty bad after the first when we were down 10-0, but we were able to turn it around big time. I was really impressed with our run game as well, with 124 yards in week 1. That was more than I expected with our shaky offensive line, to say the least. Malachi Nelson did have the fumble, but he was interception free. That's good to see. And he and Wilson combined for over 100 yards on the ground. And I was not expecting Jaden Smith to be our number 1 target on offense. He always seemed to be open underneath. and Malachi Nelson seems to have developed a nice chemistry with him. Our pass rush didn't always show up, but overall 5 sacks ain't half bad. And Stratton Schufelt had a really nice game with a sack and 2 pass deflections. And we honestly did a decent job stopping Javen Jacobs on most of his 15 carries, but the 173 yards mostly comes from the 2 huge runs he had. And we didn't see a ton of Miles Davis in the second half because he actually got hurt. And so did Carl Neesmith, the only player to record a sack for Utah State. So week 1 is in the books, and we will have one more game this episode. I want to have a lot of multi-game episodes to move season 1 along quickly. I want to get to the good part as soon as possible. And it looks like recruiting Chad Trapp is going to be an uphill battle. UNLV has a sizable lead, but he has narrowed down his top 3. The only other Conference USA team to beat an FBS team this week was Kennesaw State, who upset Wake Forest in their debut. They actually won this game in overtime. Elsewhere in college football, Ohio State put a beating on Arch Manning in Texas. Texas was number 1 going into the season, and now they're already down to number 11. Maybe we have a chance to beat them? Arch Manning with 3 interceptions. Man, if he had trouble with Caleb Downs, then he's definitely going to have trouble with Solo Barnes and Xavier Smith. Alright, I'm going to squeeze this next game in. It is against FCS Southeast, the Groupers, and it's our home opener of Season 1. Before we get into that, we have a few things to do on the recruiting trail. We have added another 2-star tackle to our board, Alex Moffitt. 65 pass block, 72 run block power, not a bad starting point, and we're already in 6th place for him. I've also found 1-star running back, a JUCO transfer, James Knox, and I am going after a lot of backfield threat running backs, mostly because it seems like when you get to the 1-star, 2-star range, the backfield threats are by far the fastest. Some of the other archetypes, you get guys with like 75, 80 speed. At least Knox has 82 acceleration, which is not anything to write home about. 74 juke move, okay as well. I've also offered a scholarship to Nick Massey, a cornerback. We just need bodies at the cornerback position. And unfortunately, we've already lost first place for Toby Takeoff. And good thing we have a visit scheduled for him this week. He is rapidly approaching a commitment, already close to his top 3. Hopefully the visit puts us back in first place. One thing I forgot to do before the first game was set our team captains, and I will be doing that now. Xavier Smith is of course going to get a captain patch. He is the best player on our team. KD Johnson will be the captain of our defensive line. Cam Thomas, the senior receiver, will be our main offensive captain. And then up front, Joseph Immediato will be our final captain. I'm only having 4 for now. And as I discussed in the last episode, I am taking off the manual progression XP penalty. They did have that for 1 week. But I will be manually progressing my players during the season and auto-progressing during the off-season. Maybe I'll make a couple exceptions, maybe not, we'll see. And I never got a chance to show you my gameplay sliders last episode. Here they are. They are roughly based off of the MAT 10 sliders that a lot of people use. I have changed them slightly though, based on my own experiences. Quarterback accuracy is down to 40. Pass blocking is up to 55 for the user, but not for the computer. And I may look at putting wide receiver catching even down from 45, because receivers are making a lot of contested catches this year. And in previous years, I've had the interception slider down way lower than 40, just to prevent some of those psychic interceptions that cornerbacks often make, especially the ones with the house call ability. But so far this year, those are much less common. They did advertise the no eyes, no pick thing, so we'll see how well 40 works for us. I do appreciate the addition of the precipitation sliders, and I don't know if this is the right choice, but I do know that I want to feel them, so I have increased them all by 5 for now. Also, injuries at 48 I think is a good spot. Here are my penalty sliders. I have everything pretty much up except for face mask and roughing the kicker is off because that's still a problem. And I have increased wear and tear, especially for hit sticks and high-speed collisions like impact blocks. This should also lead to more injuries, which will lead to more unpredictability and more of a chance for the reserves to make an impact on our team. But to counteract the added wear and tear, I've also increased the recovery times, except for the per play. And these are just C4's transfer portal sliders. Hopefully they work. I bumped the user from 55 to 38, and I bumped the CPU from 55 down to 50. I definitely want a much more active transfer portal than we had in College Football 25, but I'm hearing that it's a little bit out of control right now, so maybe this will make things a little better. We do have way more than 20 players right now who are at risk of transferring, so it's reassuring to know that we're only going to lose 20 max. And I've also slightly messed with the auto subs. I don't have any custom wear and tear auto sub sliders yet, but mostly I'm focusing on running backs and defensive linemen, as well as wide receivers, just to make sure they're rotating in and out realistically. So here we are in the Sun Bowl for the first time in this series, and we're already getting a chance to test out those precipitation effect sliders. It's raining here in the desert. When's the last time that happened? In September. But the El Paso faithful have filled these stands regardless, as the UTEP Miners will face the FCS Southeast Groupers, who are led by quarterback Devon Wingate Wilson and running back Blue Redmond. Also, it appears that now we can finally see the long snap ratings for all of our players, and Joseph Immediato, the captain, has the highest rating of everybody. I guess it's fitting to make our captain be the long snapper. He's doing the dirty work, which earns him respect among his teammates. Alright, if we play how we played against Utah State, we should be good against the Groupers. We stuffed the run on the first snap. Motion to the right side. A jet sweep is swallowed up by the freshman, Elijah Baldwin. And they're already punting it away, and this is a pathetic punt. It barely crosses the 40. And we have it in opposing territory. First snap, Hassan Wilson puts the ball on the ground. We recover it, but my bad, y'all. This was supposed to be a pop pass. I was trying to hit the tight end. I pressed triangle, but I did it a little bit too late. This time we execute the RPO nicely. It gains 5 yards. Malachi on third down. Nice pocket, nice pass. The second for Cam Thomas. Now we're going to hit Wilson on a screen pass. He's got green grass. Joseph Immediato with a pancake in the open field. First down in the red zone. Touchdown! Nice throw in there to Jaden Smith. And this is another great job from Nelson throwing into the blitz. He sees guys vacating their zones, and he knows there's going to be open space to throw this ball. Gets it there just in time for Smith. Beautiful execution as we score our first touchdown at home. But this option play is going to be a big game for the Groupers. Blue Redmond is going to go all the way to the end zone. We did not contain the option pitch. That was way too easy, as Xavier Smith completely sells out on the quarterback, lays a huge hit on him, and then he gets up and realizes that he got the wrong guy. Here's Marquez Taylor picking up a first, up to the 43, now at midfield. Play action from Wilson. Good protection, down the field, underthrown, deflected, and picked off. The first interception of his Miners career goes to FCS Southeast. And he threw this ball a long way, but still did not put quite enough power on it. Also threw it off his back foot, which led to the underthrow. Another option and more open space. This time it's Wingate Wilson sliding past the opposing 40. This time they hand it off to Redmond. He gets the edge again. It's one thing to happen in the season opener against Utah State. Now it's happening against the Groupers. It's even worse this time. Nearly 150 rushing yards in the first quarter. Wingate Wilson with the keeper. And he's not going to pick up the first down. Field goal in the rain is no good. And the weather already having an impact. Why is it raining in Texas in September? I can't get over that. What's happening to our planet? As Wandame Davis spins for the first down on the screenplay. This ball is caught in bounds. Thomas turns upfield for the first down. But a 3rd and 10 for Malachi Nelson. He's pressured and sacked. He held onto it too long, but nobody was open, honestly. Back to the Groupers, and we stuffed them in the backfield. That is Xavier Smith's game. We force another punt, and now we pick up the first with Hassan Wilson. It's easy to forget about running the ball in an air raid scheme. It'll be important to keep Wilson involved throughout the season. Nice juke for Thomas for the first down. Nearing the red zone. This is caught by Thomas. He turns upfield. And he has been great after the catch. But now a 3rd and 11. We go screen pass and they cover it up. They knew exactly what we were doing there. Field goal is good. And the Miners retake the lead here in the second. Power read option, and again we let them get to the sideline with the run. That's the backup, Xavier Craig. And their backup has 5 times as many yards as our starter. Pass over the middle, and running for the first. We have an injury on the field. Jaden Wilson on the tackle, writhing in pain. And this is really bad. Jaden Wilson has broken his fibula and will miss the rest of the season. He was carted off the field as his teammates sat in a prayer ring. This is just brutal. He just puts too much weight on that left leg as he attempts the tackle, and his leg gave out. And he knew exactly what happened, slapping the ground. Just terrible to see an injury like that happen in the second game of the season against an FCS school. But you never want to see that happen. We're going to have to finish this drive out. Blue Redmond already over 100 yards. And now we get some pressure. Cole Gustafson with the sack. Look at the power and the athleticism that Gustafson shows on that spin move. Staring down the QB too. 30 seconds left in the half. Redmond's run is stuffed by Katie Johnson. 3rd and 19. Wingate Wilson pressured hard. Sandwiched by Johnson and Gustafson. And this defense seems to have finally woken up after the injury as the Groupers miss another field goal. 14 seconds left in the half. We'll see what we can do with 2 timeouts. Wilson bouncing off tacklers for the first down. We call timeout with 8 seconds left at the 33. 2 high safeties in the corners are in press coverage. Wilson will step up, throw deep. It is caught by Kenny Odom, and he's still going to the end zone. Last second touchdown for the Miners. Pure domination from Kenny Odom, managing to come down on both feet even after the contact while he was making the catch, and then he is gone. Look at the sellout crowd going crazy as we head to halftime up by 10. That was Odom's first catch of the day. He only had 2 last week. Jalen Smith has been a much more featured target so far. He gets this one for a first, but it's coming back. Ivan Escobar with the hold. 3rd and 19 after the penalty killed the drive. and an inaccurate screen pass thrown by Nelson. Groupers have it in UTEP territory. This is bad. Redmond to the outside again. Caught at the 5. 144 yards for him. This time we get the sack on Wingate Wilson as one of their offensive line is shaken up. Play action on 3rd and goal. Hit from behind. Dante Thompson forcing the incompletion. And they are able to get this field goal. They're now 1 for 3. 17-10. UTEP still on top. And lots of running room for Wilson. First down. Now a jet pass to the outside. This is Cam Thomas with a 14-yard scamper. 3 receivers set. Nelson will hit the curl route, and Jaden Smith is gone! A catch and run, and he somersaults into the end zone. 56-yard house call. And the Miners are up by 2 scores. And those are the types of plays you can make when you have the athletic advantage over the other team. Jaden Smith just leaves these 2 DBs in the dust. Now another chance for the Groupers, and again, we struggle to contain the edge. That goes down as a pass, and only Wingate Wilson's 4th completion. Now he's going deep. This pass is intercepted. Solo Barnes with the first pick of the series. And he's going to take this all the way into Grouper territory. That's why you put the coverage specialist in the game. And this was just a really bad decision from Wingate Wilson, throwing into double coverage that had 0 chance. And more favorable starting field position for the Miners. Wilson picking up a couple blocks, and he is in. Hassan Wilson goes 27 yards untouched. And all of a sudden, this is a 3-score lead. And the Groupers are just giving up on this drive. A handoff on 3rd and 15 and a loss of 4. And we have the ball in the red zone again. Jaden Smith across the formation for a first down and the final play of the 3rd quarter. Here's Nelson back to pass, scanning, and didn't get rid of the ball fast enough. Sacked for a big loss, now 2nd and goal at the 16. This is lofted in there for Wilson. The wheel route is lethal. And UTEP looks to be headed to 2-0 to start this season. And we're just hoping that there are no more injuries today. This pass is broken up by Yesman Green, and right on cue we have an injury. Kofi Taylor Barracks has sprained his Achilles. That doesn't sound good at all, but it does say he can return soon. I think not. Our backups are in the game, including Skylar Locklear, the backup quarterback. He hands off to the backup running back, Marquez Taylor, who picks it up. 2 tight ends set now, and we hand it off to Jalen Brown. Spin move for the first down. Jet passes are still alive in college football 26, even though they said they were nerfing him. Locklear is sacked. Now has a 3rd and 15. He's pressured again. 42-yard field goal now for Joe Bobin, and what was that? Yeah, I'm going to have to change some sliders, I think, because that was perfectly timed by me. I don't think the rain has that much of an impact on kicking power in real life. This is a big gain for the Groupers. Caleb Sheffield. Now a handoff to the fullback. And he was supposed to take a seat. Udoka Ezeani has an ankle bruise. Thankfully not worse than that. I have subbed him out for the rest of the game. And there's a touchdown against our backup defense. Wingate Wilson with a really nice throw to his tight end, Kadarius Peterson. absolutely routes up our cornerback, Jalen Content. This was supposed to be cover 4. He completely blows his assignment. And he runs over to the ref afterwards like it's his fault. I am not content with your play today, Jalen. There's a speed option. We give him some of their own medicine. Marquez Taylor to the 15. And Locklear on the keeper to the sideline and stopped short of the first down. And we can run this clock out, but, you know, we're at the 5-yard line. We might as well try to score. It's too tempting. Taylor stopped on first down. Now we can run one more play. Taylor can't get in. We really should be able to score that touchdown from the 2. But alas, we win 38-17 to move to 2-0. And the player of the game, yet again, Malachi Nelson. What a start for him so far. Played really solid considering it was in some heavy rain. When he's able to nail those touch passes like that, it really is a beautiful sight. But you know what's not a beautiful sight? Our run defense, yet again, and we allow more rushing yards to FCS Southeast than we do to Utah State. 235 yards combined between Blue Redmond and Xavier Craig. Just wait until we face Texas, man. This is going to be ugly. Malachi Nelson yet again looked very good. He did have that one deep ball interception. Not the best throw there, but, you know, I was okay with taking a shot there. Not a lot of quarterbacks can throw that ball perfectly. And so far, I love that we're able to pop off some big plays in the running game. Hassan Wilson with a nice 7.5 yards per carry. And Jaden Smith is yet again our top receiver above Cam Thomas and Kenny Odom. At least in terms of yards and the fact that he caught 2 touchdowns. For some reason, he is just outplaying his overall rating. And that's going to do it for today's action in the UTEP Dynasty. We do level up our coach. Aaron Jones now with 12 tokens to spend. And we're just going to keep upgrading that offensive line. We now get a run blocking boost. We had a cornerback, Toby Takeoff, visiting this week, and he commits. Our first commitment of the Dynasty right here. A 2-star cornerback from Phoenix. And in other news, Eduardo Polanco has narrowed down his top 3, and we are still number 1. Somehow, we come into the game against Texas with a better record. Texas is 1-1 after losing to Ohio State in week 1. But it goes without saying that this is going to be a near impossible challenge. Look at all the 85 overall plus players here. Those would all be the best player on our team. But if we want to become the Kings of Texas, what better way to do it than knocking off the Texas Longhorns? Arch Manning, as you know, is their quarterback. And rating-wise, he basically has no weaknesses at 90 overall. However, he did struggle against Ohio State. And he didn't do that much against San Jose State, even though he didn't need to. But that'll do it for a successful episode 2, game number 1 and 2 of the UTEP Miners Dynasty. Aaron Jones off to a great start in his coaching tenure. But the real test is coming up next week. Hope you guys enjoyed the action today. Hope you guys enjoyed the 2-game format. I plan on the next episode being the same way. We'll play Texas, and then we'll close out our non-conference slate against UL Monroe. Not every episode is going to be 2-3 games, but I want to save the single-game episodes for the most important games, like the rivalry games, conference championships, bowl games, things like that. But obviously we have a long way to go before we get to those places. For now, we just have to focus on winning as many games as we can and acquiring as much talent as we can. Thank you all for watching if you made it through this episode. If you like what you see, would really appreciate a comment with some feedback. Leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and turn post notifications on if you don't want to miss any UTEP Dynasty. I'll be back with more very soon. And until then, have a great rest of your day.